Amazing.
Hey y'all, hey y'all, hey y'all. This is Coach Rose AJ, the Carnivore Girl for Life, coming to holla at y'all. We have a very special interview here today. This interview is actually going to be aired on March the 14th, but we are recording this on February the 29th. Can you believe it's a leap year? Oh my gosh, it only happens once every 4 years. But anyway, let me introduce my very special guest. Her name is Annie at English Carnivore Gal on YouTube, as well as her email, which I will include in the show notes. But Annie is a 64-year-old English gal turning back her body clock during the carnivore diet. Annie has improved her overall health. She wants to share her experiences as they develop so that you can take control of your life and feel as amazing as she does. And you can always feel free to reach out to Annie by email with any questions or any concerns or for any support. So, for right here and now, Annie, you're going to take it away, girlfriend, and I'm going to sip my coffee and enjoy this interview. It's all about you, boo.
Thank you, Rose. Hi, guys. Lovely to be here from actually fairly sunny south of England in the UK. I'm very lucky to live near the coast. I am a 64-year-old mum of two lovely boys, and my other half, Steve, is an ex-rugby player, ex-karate instructor. And basically, this is a little insight into how I am absolutely blown away. And now I'm just a normal gal who wants to put the message out and help others. So some of my little shorts that you might see on my site are maybe not as tailored and trimmed as a lot of YouTubers, but I'm just being me. So it's a true journey of ups and downs of carnivore. I feel now, after actually this, and looking at my diary, this is my 58th day on carnivore. I feel like I've been doing this for months and months and months, and I feel like heaven that I found it. And I can honestly say it will never bother me again if I never touch any fruit or vegetables or barcoded food or any crap, as we say in England, in my body. As for the plant oils, I just don't want plastic food anymore. And now I found that my whole system is so much better because of having carnivore. And I'm learning why, how it affects your hormones, how it affects all the vitamins that go into your body. It sucks in the fat of your body. And I've witnessed the most spectacular changes. I actually came across carnivore because I followed Jordan Peterson for a while. And I noticed that his daughter, Michaela, who had a lot of autoimmune problems, had unbelievable changes in her body within 6 months. And I desperately wanted to find out more about this because people are dying out there. The only analogy that I could say at this moment is someone that quoted, and I can't tell you who, but one of the doctors that I followed, most of them in the US, was that if you smoke, you don't die immediately. If you eat fruit and veg, you don't die immediately. It's a long, long process. And when I look around me and I see a lot of people my age that are struggling there, and it's so sad, and I see them eating buffet food, I just want to say, no, don't put that in your mouth. That's how I feel about it. I feel my body is pure now of plants and fruit and all the rubbish. So I don't have to think about food too much anymore. I'm creating new ways to apply to food. So most days I'll give a little carnivore tip and a food tip, which I think can help you guys too, if I can help. I've been in the hospitality arena all my life. I've run pubs, I've done sports clubs, soccer clubs, and rugby clubs. And so I've catered for hundreds of people in my life. And I've got an understanding of food. So if I can help anyone in any way with any questions, I can advise you on. No, I'm not a nutritionist, but I can help. So
Speaking of you could help, I noticed on one of your shorts, Annie, maybe it was just the other day, that you had like a 2.5 pound or maybe a 5 pound mutton thing on your plate that
yes,
you showed us.
Yeah,
Okay, I have to admit, I was too lazy to look up the word mutton and to find out exactly what it is because I knew I'd have you on the show. So could you
yeah.
explain to us what that is? And you said that you
Well,
made some steaks and you did some other
yeah.
things with it. Can you
It
go?
It was 2.8 kilos actually. And I wanted to show people what a mutton was because when I did my first interview, lots of people asked, and I thought, well, people in Australia and New Zealand will know, but in the States, it might not be a term you use. But what it is, if you imagine a leg of lamb, okay, you get those, Rose, don't you? Legs of lamb? You don't get lamb. You don't get sheep.
Girlfriend, I don't get sheep. I don't. It may
No, but
exist.
do you know what it is? Lamb?
I know what it
Yeah,
is,
yeah.
but
Well,
I
it's
don't.
from a sheep,
Oh,
basically. And a
okay.
lamb is literally a very young sheep. It sounds awful, but a leg of lamb is a key product and it's a ruminant meat. So, as with the beef, you know what ruminant means. Those of you that don't, it's a red meat animal that has more than one stomach. And what happens is the beef chews the plant, chews the grain, whatever it eats, that goes into their stomach as it would with us. But we haven't got those chemical processes to process that. But what it does with the ruminant animal is it transfers into their second stomach or third stomach, wherever it's located. That meat then ferments. So if there's any bad ingredients in what the cow or the lamb is eating, by the time we eat the flesh, which we're all doing on carnivore, that part of the animal's stomach is fermenting all the nasties. So we would, as humans, pass that through our bodies. And it's the fibrous food, the things like broccoli that are blocking up our stomachs and causing us to have intermittent poos is the word. Sorry about talking about poo, but it's very important that we have an understanding. So this will go into the cow's or the lamb's second stomach. That then ferments in a natural way. So that goodness from that food goes into the animal's flesh and it's absolutely pure. So that's why you see guys eating large steaks, New York ribs, or whatever they call them in America. I can't remember all the terminologies, but we have the rib steaks and the rib eyes like you do. All of that meat is absolutely pure. So that it means that when we eat that pure meat, that flesh or the muscle, that and the fats, because don't forget to eat your fat, guys, very important. That flesh has got every single vitamin, high vitamin C, it's got all of our amino acids, our B12s, B6s, B everything we need in it. That's why our bodies calm down and we basically calm all of our inflammation. And that's amazing. I've lost the track now. Where was I going, Rose, when you asked me?
Mutton.
Oh,
What
about
what is
lamb,
mutton?
about mutton.
Okay,
Sorry.
yes, yes, no
So,
worries.
okay, so we've got a sheep. It's a young sheep, so it's lamb, and we have a big market in leg of lamb. It's fabulous. Have it with mint sauce, delicious. A mutton is an older sheep. That's the term for a slightly older sheep. Very popular in Asia and India for mutton curry. Mutton curry is the best thing in the world. And it's ruminant, so you're getting all that goodness of the meat. Then there's another type of lamb, which we in England, a lot of people don't know, and it's called a hogget. And a hogget is an older type of lamb or sheep. So there you go. That's really what we're talking about.
Thank you for that education.
No,
All
that's
right.
okay anytime. And the other thing I just jumped to, Rose, is
Yeah.
that we also have a sheep cheese. Now, this is a traditionally a Cypriot cheese, and it's called halloumi, and it's Hallumi, and it's a sheep cheese that basically it's in a pack so big and you can probably get it online. You slice it, it's very rubbery. Sounds strange, but it's very rubbery. And what you do is you grill it or you put it on your barbecue or you put it on the hot plate with your meat or your bacon. Oh my God, it's amazing with bacon. And you put it on there and it browns and goes slightly crispy. Then you cut it while it's hot and eat that. So you're getting the best of the ruminant in the ruminant milk because it's from sheep. And that is an amazing partner with your bacon or your steak.
Right
There you go.
on, right on. Thank you.
No, you're
So,
welcome.
so can you tell me, I think you're like 9, 10 weeks into the carnivore lifestyle. Is
Yeah.
that correct at this time?
Yeah, it's 2 months actually.
2
So
months.
yeah, so 8 weeks.
Okay, 8 weeks. And so I think I've heard you mention in another interview that this is kinda like it for you.
Oh
This is
yeah,
your jam.
I'm
Um,
happy.
how do you know this early in? Because I wanna share with you a little bit about my story, but
Yeah.
how do you know, just know intuitively, or is it because of the results that you've seen that
Yeah.
you know that this is for you and your husband for a while?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'll just give you a couple of ideas. If you look at my finger here, can you see it's got a slight kink in it? Well, in the UK, I don't know if it's worldwide, you can have a gene which they say comes from the Saxons. And my mother, my sister, and I had this slightly bent finger. Okay. If you know the actor Bill Nye, which I'm sure in the States or anyone listening knows Bill Nye, his hands are very much like this when he's in his movies and he can't straighten his fingers. And what literally happens is you see this tendon here going down, that tightens as you get older. Now, as I say, I'm 64, so I knew it would happen and I hated it. So when I used to start rowing, I used to put the rowing machine handle there and try and break this down. And I couldn't get it done and never did anything. And it was literally going like this. Well, it wasn't until a month ago, I looked at my hand and I thought, oh my God, what's going on? I could not touch this tendon before. It was so sore. It was so tight, like a rubber band, old rubber band tightening. Do you call them rubber bands in the States? You know, elastic band. And I suddenly thought, look, hang on a minute. Look at that. Look, I can press that now. It doesn't hurt. I am just amazed that my tendons must be remarkably improving. So that means my bad hip I had, I can sleep on my right side now. Haven't been able to do that in 6 months because my hip was really sore. I don't get cramp in my lower legs anymore because all of the amino acids in the meat are going into my lower legs. And I heard from one MD that this is due to your hormones. So us girls especially know if this improves our hormones, that's just got to be the holy grail. You know, I am just amazed. So countless things have improved in me, including my varicose veins going down. I'm waiting for that to disappear. I've got one from being on hospitality and doing sport all my life, and that's going. So I feel amazing. But anyway, the reason I did it to start off with was because my other half, Steve, is an ex rugby player, an ex karate instructor. He had to have an operation on his knee, and because of his BMI being over what it should be, and this crazy bloody Japanese idea that is, but it's not a fact that it's an individual statement. The BMI is over, so they wouldn't operate. So I basically said, okay, let's cut out drink for January, dry January, we call it in the UK. He agreed, and we decided to do it. Well, I cannot believe it. In 2 weeks, his snoring stopped. In a month, his sleep apnea went away. And I'm not kidding you. In the morning, I have to lay there and check he's there because I can't hear him snoring. It's just, I am sleeping like a log anyway, whereas I would always wake up 3 a.m., 4 a.m. I'm sleeping like a log, getting up with the sunlight, so I'm getting my circadian rhythms going. He's never slept for more than 5 hours a night in our whole relationship, which is 46 years. He's never slept. He would come to bed 2, 3 in the morning and get up fairly early. He's now coming to bed with me and sleeping 8 hours. What is that all about? That
That
is
is a
amazing.
blessing.
It
Yes.
is. And these are just things that I cannot believe from finding this way of eating. But
Mm.
now I'm following up on the biological side of things with certain doctors and the chemical breakdowns because Rose, you and I know it's very important to follow something seriously if you believe in it, and I will. I'll follow it 100%. I won't don't want to convince vegetarians. I don't want to convince vegans. I just want people to, if they're interested in their health, to have an opportunity and a chance to actually make a change for themselves. And we now know about carb addiction and all the problems that people are struggling with. So I also heard the other day that if you are not ketosis ready and you're converting from a high carb diet, one of a good tip, or if you have autoimmune problems or tummy issues, stomach issues, a good tip is to carry on with the potatoes. And a tip about potatoes are if you boil or roast or cook your potatoes, or even chips, freeze them first,
Mhm.
then take them out of the freezer. You reduce the carbohydrate in them by 50%. But also, potatoes are not fibrous. Neither are bananas, and neither is white rice. So if you're going on to this and you've got an autoimmune worry, eat three of those things as well if you want to get going. And the whole idea is with the carnivore, it's an elimination. You eliminate everything except for the protein and the fat. So that, and the salt, of course, and your electrolytes, very important to start with. But there are so many doctors, Dr. Ken Berry, Dr. Anthony Chafee, that I followed, and these guys are quite magnificent. And Dr. Sean Baker
Sure.
as well, I
Hmm.
mustn't forget him. But you've only got to look for yourselves, follow these guys, and you just look at them. They are ribbed and cut, aren't they? They are looking a tower of health, you know? And that's what we want. I listened to something the other day from the UK, and Dr. Chafee was on a video link from Australia. Sean Baker was being interviewed, and it was all professors in an academic environment talking about vegetarianism against eating vegetables against meat only. Look at the two vegetarian lecturers.
Oh,
They're grey, grey,
yes, yes.
thin. You look at our two guys, oh my goodness, what a difference. And that in itself tells me a story.
Well, let me stop you here for just a minute. Speaking of vegan, vegetarian protocols and whatnot, can you share with us maybe some dietary protocols that you've tried in the past? I don't know if you had an extreme diet history or anything like that, but if you have or
Yeah, yeah.
followed,
Oh, oh, yes,
something,
definitely.
share that with us.
Well, I'm not a dieter. I don't even like the word diet. I think it's a way of life. I've always thought of it that way. When I was a kid, I was quite a high level basketball player, actually. We do have basketball in the UK. I used to play National League and I was an England reserve, so I was very proud of that. So I've always been running and fit. I love it. But I've had to be careful because, like all of us, it's easy to pile the pounds on, especially after your kids and everything else. But I do remember when I was in my 30s, my best friend Angela and my friend Joe as well, we did a team triathlon and we were classed as veterans. And I never forget at the time I thought, oh my God, don't dare call me a veteran at 32, which was a real shock. And we won this. And I did the cycling, Angela did the swimming, and Joe did the running. And it was about 24 miles I cycled. And I remember at the time being on the Atkins and thinking, oh my God, I'm on the Atkins. I won't have enough energy. Better not do it. So I said to Angela, let's just eat a Mars bar before we did. Do you know what a Mars bar is? Do you get those in the States? Let's just eat a Mars bar because that will give us our energy, because that's the way our brains were educated and trained. And the marketeers grabbed all of us. They always have with McDonald's. We're suckered in by it. So I ate a Mars bar because I thought I should. What a load of rubbish. Knowing now, I still knocked 20 minutes off my time, but I was doing the Atkins and quite strictly. So that was probably a diet that I did. Well, diet, I don't like calling it that, as I said, but an eating pattern that I tried. But I would generally do the Mediterranean diet. I don't eat bread hardly ever. I've always cut my boys' teeth on rib bones when they were babies. So when their teeth were coming, we've always explored with food, but I would have three meats on the middle of my table. And I love eating around the table and massive of meat, but lots of vegetables and potatoes. So I've always been aware of food. I've always tried to follow the best I can, and I am also a cognac drinker. So, as you say, Rose, you're a coffee connoisseur. I'm a cognac connoisseur and brandy. So that was is a big part of my life. And I've run pubs. I've got more booze in my dining room cabinet than most pubs have. But that is our social life. So we decided, going back to January, to cut out all of the alcohol, which is fine, not a problem for me at all. And it was so brilliant with Steve not snoring and everything else. We stayed on for the second month, which we're just about completing now. I'm going to continue. I'm going to stay on because for the first time, I had quite a big operation in 2017 from a car crash, which meant I had to have a hysterectomy and a prolapse and things that go with it. And I've had a couple of operations from that. So I've always been mindful of my diet to try and keep it regular and my food regular because of that reason. What a load of rubbish I've been following because I've been better now than I've ever been. Honestly,
I'm sorry.
honestly.
I'm sorry to hear about your car accident, but it sounds
Oh,
like you came
that's
out okay. Or
yeah,
yes,
yeah, I did
okay.
after surgeries and things. But these are things in life that when when the river bends, you have little
Yeah,
hiccups. You carry on because it carries on flowing, and when things happen like that in life, you just got to pick yourself up and get on. But
right
when it came to
on.
diet, I was trying everything to be healthy. And now I found the Holy Grail, I call it, really, in a
It,
way. It's not probably not the best terminology, but to me it is because I am in control.
I like that word in control, that you're in control. So I do want to share with you my dieting drama and trauma started when I was 12. At the young age of 12, I started doing diets. I started using X-Lax and I
Oh,
consumed a lot of junk food, but it was due to childhood trauma, right? So I started
oh,
having disordered eating as early as 3.5. And that
oh my
carried, yeah,
goodness.
with me
Oh,
forward.
so sorry to hear that. Yeah, that's a shame, really is.
But with that being said, I tried everything under the sun. I mean, literally everything under the sun. And I just thought that it would be my saving grace if I was the perfect weight, if I was, the perfect shape and whatnot. But through all the diets that I tried, I did have a good 10-year stretch where I did have success, right? But it involved me religiously counting calories, over exercising, and just binging. I never purged, right? So binging and whatnot, and abusing the laxatives and whatnot. So with that being said, when I turn like 45, 46 up in there, the hormones start talking to you in a different
Yeah.
way. And by the time I got to 50, I had gained like 40, 50 pounds, which was out of my scope, depressed and whatnot. But Annie, this is what I want to tell you. If somebody, and I do have issues, right? I've never been formally diagnosed with depression or any mental illness or anything, but I just know, like I know, right?
Of course you do.
So I never went for medication or anything like that. But if somebody had told me, I don't know if I would have listened, to be quite honest, Annie, that what you're eating is contributing to your overall mental health. I don't know if I would have ever been ready to listen and hear. Right. So that's my message to people right now. It doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter what you do. Everything that you do affects your hormones. It affects your mental health. And then I found out about the ketogenic diet somewhere around June 2018. And I didn't start, I mean, I did the rabbit hole of research and stuff, but I didn't start intermittent fasting and the ketogenic diet until December 2nd, 2018. But I started, it was haphazard. I was still binging for years on end. I ventured into carnivore in January 2020. And I finally found peace because I was no longer being triggered. But I had a couple of off days, exceptions that involved cashews instead of a handful. It was a tub, and it would go on like a 3-day bender. And then finally, in August of 2020, I finally got it. that I am an addict, that there are foods that I can no longer eat, right? So I went carnivore for the rest of the year of 2020. And then because of society and because of that little voice in me saying, well, maybe you should add back in vegetables and see how you do being back on the ketogenic diet, right? I have to tell you, Annie, from January 2021 through June of 2021, I tried to reintroduce vegetables, the cheeses, the different things that were absolute triggers for me, and I was just off my rocker. So I'm a self-declared carnivore girl for life that no matter which way my dietary protocol shows, that I will always be a meat-based human because with meat, I have no triggers. So that's how I ended up here, and I'm here to stay. So I get you. But I love that you just know at 6, 8, and 10 weeks in that this is it for you.
Oh, definitely. I was talking to one of my son's friends this earlier on, and he'd been a bit poorly over the last few days, and he said, "Oh, I've got to eat. I feel faint. My body feels faint because I haven't eaten." I said, "No, it's not that you haven't eaten." I said, "Have some electrolytes." And I said to him, "I didn't eat for 34 days the other day." And he went, "What?" I said, "That's part of what I do. It's part of what I do now." And he was like shocked. So if I can give people a little snippet of information, that's what helps.
And then we have to be the light. We have to be the guiding light. We have to be the example, right? Because so many times we see people, I don't know for you, but when I was growing up, there was not a lot of people that looked like me in magazines
Mm,
that I was friends with, right? So everybody was the opposite of me, right? And I wanted
yes,
to look like them. I wanted to fit in, but I have a skill set that I didn't recognize. And, when I was younger, that now I fully embrace at 56,
yeah,
right?
amazing.
So I just think that we have to be the light. We have to make these virtual connections like you and I are doing and be the light because there's somebody out there that's listening. Like you said, that if we plant the seed, who knows where that may go,
Exactly.
right? And maybe they are ready to listen at this point in their life. But even
Yeah,
if not, it's okay. It's
yeah,
okay.
that's
Yeah.
right. It's
Yeah.
okay. I feel like
Mm.
if I can, I feel as if I can help one person a week and that changes that person's life, that to
Yes.
me has got to be worth it. I mean,
You know, a
I
lot of
have people, sorry, go on.
N no, a
Go on.
lot of times we are influencing and setting the examples for people that never, ever, ever reach out or say anything. They may be
Yeah.
lurkers or they might be the neighbor down the street or the student in the classroom, right? So I had somebody that reached out to me on Instagram. We had been communicating, maybe sporadically. She'll send me a reel or something like that, but never really any conversation. So she gave me her whole backstory. But this is the thing that she started with, Annie. Maybe you want to be my coach? Question mark. And then she gave her whole history. Right. And I'm like, you know what? God sent her to me for some reason. So I'm like, okay. I didn't say okay to supporting her, but let's figure out if I am the person for you, right? Or maybe guide you
Mm.
in a different way. So you never know who you are influencing, inspiring, or motivating because a lot of people don't come out and say it outright. I think you're influencing the dog walkers on your run, sprint walks in the morning, to be quite honest.
Well, I've got lots of friends and family that have dogs so much in their lives, and it's not for any particular reason, but my parents didn't have a dog, neither did I, neither did Steve. So I'm not so natural with dogs. So I go to
Yeah.
my little run track and it's early because I know I get there before the dog walkers because the dogs always run up to me and it frightens me. So and it's not it's just me. I'm not anti-dog. I just don't naturally have never bonded. So yeah, I go on my track in the morning and I just start walking. I then jog, and then when I'm ready, and since I started carnivore, I feel up to doing this. I sprint. I sprint for 30 steps, proper sprint. First of all, I was scared because I thought, oh, I might fall. I haven't run for so many years. and I lost interest in running. And I thought I don't need to run because my body was going with gravity and I just felt I wasn't feeling comfortable. So I sprint run. So I do sprint run 30 seconds, then I walk. And I do 10 lots of those. It's done in 10 minutes. Then I come back home. I do my kitchen exercise routine. I have my music blaring in my headphones and I do my kicks and my squats. I can do squats and my knees don't hurt. I do 10 push-ups now, which I've coached myself to doing. I do my I've got dumbbells, and then outside of my door just here, I have my cold dip. And I just literally strip off because nobody can see me. And if they can, it's because they're hanging out the window. So I strip off. I don't even have to dry a swimsuit. I step into my cold dip, do my cold dip, have my shower, and get ready for work or whatever I'm doing that day. And I feel amazing. I feel on a high. I've got the energy.
I can only imagine what an incredible way to start your morning. Incredible.
And this dip doesn't cost a
Yeah.
lot. My son bought it for me on my birthday in November the year before last. So I have been cold dipping. It costs £100 off of Amazon. Anyone can
Okay.
get one in their garden. And I don't fill it with ice. When it's icy, it's ice cold. Now it's about 6 degrees, I think, which is as cold as our ocean. And so I go in there.
Okay. I'm the complete opposite. I like hot, 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 not cold, cold, cold. So you go, girl.
That's
So
the
now,
whole idea. You're not supposed to like it, Rose. You're not supposed to like it. It goes, but you do love it because you get a massive drive of uh, endorphins and all kinds of
energy, yeah.
biological.
So, Annie, I do want to say thank you so much for having this conversation with me today. But before we actually close out, is there any words of wisdom that you can leave for my audience? Not necessarily if they're contemplating getting on the carnivore lifestyle, but just doing any lifestyle changes that would improve their overall health. And please tell
Yeah.
us about your YouTube channel.
Oh, yes. Well, anyway, I would honestly say everybody has to find this in their own time. This found me. So if you open up, it will find you. Follow Dr. Ken Berry. Follow Dr. Anthony Chafee. Follow Dr. Sean Baker. These are all high academics, all medical professionals. Listen to what they're telling you. I'm not a medical professional. I would just tell you how it works for me. And I would love doing that if any of you want to know more. I'm on YouTube and I'm English Carnivore Gal, GAL. And my email is englishcarnivoregal@gmail.com. And I don't do amazing things on YouTube yet, but I'm slowly getting used to it. But I do shorts and I do a tip of the day. And it's while I'm in my life. So I was in Wales a couple of days ago, the country next to England. So I was there working. So I did a tip on the beach there. It's just short 60-second tips. And if I can help anybody to be inspired, I shall. But please, please don't feel you've got to give up your life to do this. You haven't. I've been to some fabulous gala dinners, which I sometimes have to do with work, and I've eaten out. I just want to eat what I want to eat, but I don't want to eat fruits. I do not want to eat vegetables. I don't want to eat anything with a barcode on it. So I asked the chef. I asked the chef to come out and I say, could you please tell me, especially if the waiting staff don't know, I work in hospitality still, so I'm surrounded by food and drink. I love my coffee machine. I grind my beans. I love my coffee in the morning. I'll drink black tea, but what I will do is put clotted cream in my coffee because I can. Clotted cream is a Cornwall region cream, which is amazing, thick with a crusty top of cream. Oh my God, it's fabulous. So have what you like, but honestly, just play around with it. And if you have got an autoimmune problem, or if you've got diabetes, or if you've got any illness, even, believe it or not, watch these doctors because they've got the answers for you. So follow them. I would just help support you. But all I can tell you is my tongue is pink. I have no issues with my body. I feel so amazing. I'm sleeping well. I mean, and Steve has lost 2 stone. Well, that is 14 pounds to a stone. So you can work that out, how much weight he's lost. And
28
I've lost
pounds.
28 pounds. I've lost a stone, yeah. And basically, and this is day 58. I just can't wait to see how the things improve as we go. And we're not, if we want to dip out of carnivore, like yesterday, I had a funeral, so I had a couple of brandies because a girlfriend of mine said, Annie, please have a brandy with me. And I don't want to be unsociable. I said, of course I shall. One big tip, if you go onto carnivore, if you're in ketosis, doing ketones, get some tea ketone dips. In the morning, dip your urine. It will tell if you're still in ketosis, and that makes you feel amazing. So this morning, I dipped my urine. My ketones were still really high. So that means I had 2 brandies and I didn't go out of ketosis. But what I did do, I had sparkling water alongside my brandy because I don't want to let people think I'm not sociable anymore. So it's all about your group of friends and your perception of your friends and how they perceive you, isn't it, really, in life? So I can break the rules a little bit, but I do my homework to study if they're going to have an impact on me. But that is the whole ultimate about being in control. But I haven't sorted my Instagram yet, but I will be soon. But if you do need any support or if you just want to say hi, then do
Yes.
that. I get
Yeah.
people from all around the world. I had a lovely lady from New Zealand yesterday. I had a lady from Canada. I've had, oh my goodness, people from all over the world just saying hi. And I think if we all support one another and we trust one another, that's what it's all about, isn't it?
Right on. Well, thank you so, so much. And I'll include all that in the show notes. And if you hold on for just 10 seconds after I stop the recording, I want to chat for a minute.
Thank you.
All right, my friends. All right, my friends. This is Annie, the English carnivore gal. I had to look at my notes, guys. I make sure I said it right. But just another phenomenal interview. So she is 64. I'm 56. If you're younger than that, look at what you have to look forward to. So aging is a beautiful thing. So when I get to 64, I hope that I am as beautiful, as witty, and educated as Miss Annie is and doing different things to improve my life at 64. So it's only going to get better. It's not going to get worse. It's going to get better, guys. So thank you so much for tuning in. And again, please subscribe to both our channels and drop a hello or whatever you need to do. All right. Have the best day ever. Okay.